Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for making it onto our excellent webinar this afternoon, this beautiful sunny afternoon here in Toronto. For everyone on the call, so I'm just going to go through. Hey, Isabel. Hey, Krishna. Hi, Alberto. Carrie. Lavinia, Lucas, Saba. Can you just please type in the box why you're in, if you can hear me okay? I'm just going to make sure everyone's on the call and is hearing me okay. I know we're still waiting for a few more people to come in. Excellent. All right, excellent. Looks like everyone could hear us. So for today, and again, thanks so much for attending this call. I think it's going to be a very powerful, impactful session with David Barrett. From what I understand and know of his talks and his event, that very interactive, very on the go. He likes to get everyone as involved as possible. So really hoping for as much interaction from you guys on this presentation, just so we make sure we get, especially for you, as much as possible from this event. I'm sure many of you know, but for those who know, David Barrett is a professional speaker and author who genuinely works to inspire leaders on many different levels across a lot of different industries. A lot of his passions and efforts are aimed at the art and science of getting work done, execution leadership, project leadership, as well as personal leadership. He's also the National Program Director for the Center of Excellence in Project Management and Business Analysis at the Schulich School of Business, and actually is in partnership with 8 other universities across Canada. Moreover, on top of that, he's actually written 2 very successful books on the topic of project management, and currently has a 3rd on the way. So he obviously has a great deal of wisdom to share. So without further delay, I will let David take the stage and go from there. I'm just going to transfer screens to you, David, okay?
Great, Artie. Thank you very much. And welcome, everyone, to this session called From a Good Manager to a Great Leader. It's great to be here. It's great to be working with Artie on getting his contacts and his client base and his folks that know him and some of the folks through my network as well to connect for this hour and talk about the journey between where we are today and where we might want to be or where we hope to be tomorrow. And I guess there's an assumption that you're all here to think about that that leadership role within an organization, either your own organization or maybe somewhere else. It could be that you're looking just to become a little bit more senior in your role at your company. So whatever it is a journey, and welcome. I'm assuming everyone can see my screen there. A little bit about, if I could, housekeeping. I am going to be using a product called Prezi instead of PowerPoint, which won't make any difference to you at all. But I'm also going to be using the chat box. I have a very difficult time just talking for an hour. I don't have a difficult time talking. That's probably not the best thing to say, but I certainly have a difficult time just talking for 1 hour to empty space out there. So we're going to make this as interactive as we can using the chat box. So I do need you to somehow look at your screen and find the chat box, and if you wouldn't mind just saying a quick hello to me, and so that I can make sure that we're all alive and kicking. Organized and panelists only. Already questions too. So already I'm not seeing people's typing in the chat box. Can you help me there? Are you there already? Organizers,
yeah, if you go into, I think that you should be coming in through the questions.
No, I'm actually on the chat box. Are you? Oh, you want to look at the Q&A box? A little different. I don't really care which one it is.
I believe for when I asked the question, the responses actually for me came through the Q&A box.
So the Q&A, maybe we don't all have. I see. So lots we don't have the access to.
Well, I mean, certainly
to the chat.
So why don't we do this?
Now we're just trying to find the Q&A box.
If you ask the questions, then I can certainly relay those to you as they come in.
No, I don't do that. I want to see the answers myself so I can chat and just show me where that Q&A box is, if you wouldn't mind. So I'm not seeing it. Can you show me that? Give me control of that Q&A box.
It should,
or maybe,
should be questions. It's at the bottom.
Recorded. I see the attendees. Talking is me. I see telephone mic audio. On air. Drawing tools. No, I'm not seeing the questions. Audience view. Sorry about this, folks. So just a quick moment. I am not seeing it, Artie. So as a presenter, or no, you got me as a panelist.
Yes.
Does that make a difference?
Should it? No.
Panelists are not seeing the Q&A. Is there any way you can change my rights to a presenter?
I'm just having a look for you right now.
Folks, we're just going to be 2 seconds, and then we're going to get going, I promise.
Oh.
You're a good man,
So I've just made you a... do you see it now?
Yep, I sure did.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay, that was great. See, folks, a little bit of patience, and we can do it. I got there. I can hear you fine. Hello, you can see this. Great. Great to have everyone here. Awesome. Now I got that. So sometimes this stuff takes just a moment to set up, but we are now good to go. So, folks, a little bit about me before we get going. I am a professional speaker. I specialize in the area of project leadership, project management. I have a number of keynote speeches I do for different organizations and work with project groups, but as well leadership groups within organizations to inspire and to educate and to help them along. So, you know, I have a few quotes here, but you can read, but I can tell you what this says in a nutshell. 30% drop in the number of appropriately aged managers available now for leadership roles. This was in statistics between 2009 and 2015. To make matters worse, this quote says, professionals considered emerging leaders account for only 8% or 8 to 10% of the current talent pool, said Forbes just recently. What I want you to understand, and really where I get really excited about this topic, is that the baby boomers are leaving. Ultimately, or admittedly, I should say, a little late, it was a delayed departure, but they are soon leaving. And there is going to be a very large void in the leadership positions within organizations. Here's one from a talent organization in the U.S. economy in recent years. There's a shortage of leaders, even in our current economic environment, who bring both specific technical expertise and strategic general business acumen to the table. Smart organizations are looking for and hiring it, and this is where we come in this hour. Smart leadership candidates are acquiring and marketing it. Business acumen, understanding how to get from where we are today to a leadership role. Why, and why would I be interested, other than it's a great thing to do? The truth is because we want you to step up, because our organizations today truly are looking for leaders. And I think there's just a fabulous opportunity for all of us. I did this presentation in front of a large group of the Canadian Professional Accountants Association recently, and that morning, March 13th, the Globe and Mail said, quote, as the workforce contracts, the scarcity of skilled labor will increase. Competition for employees with specialized skills, high performers, and effective leaders will ratchet up as the global war for talent escalates. It is not the same old, same old. Lots of opportunities for all of us. So it's exciting days. And we're here to talk about how to get from a leadership, from a management level, or where we are today, to a leadership role. So hold on to your hat, and I'm hoping that you can take some nuggets away from this and think of some of the ways that you can improve your lot in life and grow as professionals. I want you to get out a piece of paper, please, line paper, whatever. I'm going to ask 14 questions. I'll give you 14 little areas. Just nice to survey yourself and get a feel for where you are in the attributes of great leaders. A list that I'm going to ask you to rank yourself between 0 and 10, or 1 and 10, 0 and 10, if you will. If you have a moment, just write down the key word, listening, good listener, or just listening skills, if you would, please. And just beside there, give yourself a number, 1 to 10. If you are an awesome listener, if people love you and come to you professionally and personally, and give yourself a 9 or a 10. Or if you just don't like listening to people, give yourself a 0, 1, or somewhere in the middle, give yourself something in the middle. Okay? Let's give yourself a score somewhere between 1 and 10. The ability to delegate. Are you a good delegator? Crucial in a leadership position. Let's see how you are doing, 0 or 1 to 10. Calm in the heat when things get crazy out there, in both in work or business and in the trenches. Are you good, calm, cool, collected, or do you, like me, are you a little bit frazzled? I get frazzled. And quite frankly, if you're telling me that you're all 10s, it's, you got to look in there. So now you don't have to type in the box. I see some people are. Don't type in the box there. Just write it on a piece of paper, okay? Because I'm just going to be a total up after 14 questions, okay? So just total up after. So you should have 4 numbers down. Let's go on to the number 4, communication skills. Do you think you're a good communicator? Now, I know it's broad. We'll talk about communication skills. I know it's a very broad topic, but generally speaking, do you think you're a great communicator? Are you able to see the big picture? Or are you still in the woods, in the weeds and in the muck and love, like many people out there, and we're all grateful for it, but the kind of person just loves to work on the details and do the detailed work? Or are you able to pull out these days and say, you know what, there is a bigger picture and I'm able to see it. I just see the whole enterprise wide scene. Can you read and interpret a balance sheet? This is a bit of a joke because I was presenting to the CPA. They're all accountants. They better all got 10 on this one. And I know there's some accountants and financial people, so obviously give yourself a 10 on this one. But this is to say, and we'll get there, you as potential and future leaders, one of the skill sets you need to have in spades is the ability to read and interpret not only a balance sheet, but the P&L, any kind of financial statements, a good budget, a good cash flow statement. So if you're from the accounting world, I guess you're going to get a 10 on that one. There's your gift. Are you creative, innovative, and creative? Very hot commodity within the leadership role. Give yourself a 5 if you're in the middle of the road, or a 10. Intuitive. Have you got good intuitive skills? Intuitive about people. I was doing a presentation yesterday in Syracuse, New York, and someone said, I've been told I read people really, really well. There's a very intuitive person, whether it's intuition about people or business or trends in the economy. Are you intuitive? Are you motivational? Are you a great motivator? Inspiration. Do people look to you for inspiration and motivation? Give yourself 1 to 10. Do you see yourself as a salesperson? Wow, this isn't about selling, isn't it? Is it? Well, I got good and bad news for some of you. Leadership requires good selling skills. And we'll talk about that in a moment. If you got a positive attitude, are you a positive person? You walk around with a smile on your face, or when things get crummy and lousy and rough, are you able to say, you know what, tomorrow's another day, we're going to fix it, let's take a deep breath, and we'll all live happily ever after. Which, believe me, isn't me. But I know there's some very positive people out there. I try to surround myself, of course, with very positive people. It's not always. Do you know what a project management or a professional project manager does? A funny question, isn't it? But you know what? The banking industry in Canada, there's a gathering of them, and recently they went through the core competency of their organizations, and project management stood in the top 5 as a core competency within the banking industry, the financial sector. That's unbelievable, isn't it? The corporations, organizations, public and private sectors today are being driven by projects, are project-driven. People get it now. I've been in this business of project management for 23 years. We didn't get it at the beginning. Most organizations did not. It's been quite a journey, but they do now. You've got to understand that. And most importantly, I don't think I'm finished yet. I think there's one more, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, one more. Do you have a sense of humor? Yeah, what's a sense of humor? Can you tell a good joke in front of a crowd? That's not really a sense of humor, but can you lighten up the mood a bit? And do you have a professional strategic plan? You don't know what that is? Put a 0 there. You got 0 on that one. Okay, so folks, you should have a list of 14 areas. I call them leadership attributes. They are typically identified by people out there as key attributes, and I've added a few myself, for great leaders. I want you to look at that, and I want you to keep this list because you've got a number down there. Your strengths, 7s, 8s, 9s, and 10s. Have a look. Put a star beside them. Your weaknesses or your gaps. Weaknesses is not a great word. Your gaps. Your 0s, 1s, 2s, and 3s. Middle of the road, of course, anything else. But you know what? In our journeys, we've got to understand our strengths. We've got to understand our weaknesses. We should be looking to leverage our strengths and manage our weaknesses. That's a key point. So keep that around. It's important to understand who you are. And I'm going to talk, because of that, I'm going to talk about that last line right there. It's called your professional strategic plan in a moment. What I'm going to do beforehand is I'm going to just give you a guide as to where we're headed. We're going to talk about thinking like a leader. Now you're going to see a lot of this stuff come back. Thinking like a leader, communicating like a leader, knowing your leadership style, learning how to sell, and thinking big picture. So after everything we've just talked about, after that survey, here's where we're headed. But before I go, I want to talk about that last line in the list of 14 issues, 14 questions, or 14 attributes. It's called your professional strategic plan. I guess truthfully, it's not really a leadership attribute. It's an asset. Do you own one? Well, what the heck is a professional strategic plan? Every journey has a beginning and has an end. And great journeys that are well managed have a plan in between. And that journey could be the next holiday you're going to take with your family or friends or whatever. It's a journey. And you've got to start, you've got an end, you've got a plan, you've got all the details in the middle. Well, so is your strategic plan. Yes, we've heard strategic plans for corporations. I've even got a strategic plan personally. I've got a personal strategic plan. My wife Karen and I, every year we revisit the strategy for the next 1, 2, and 3 years. And that strategic plan covers all of the areas of our personal lives, from our friends, our relationships, to our health, to our own relationship, to our kids, and all the other stuff, our fun stuff. What's this about a professional strategic plan? Well, it's easy to understand. It's understanding, it's a study, it's a document, it's a asset that says, this is who and where I am today. This is who I want to be and where I want to be tomorrow. And then very logically and easily then we can say, and in order to get from A to B, this is what I need to do. Let's go back to the beginning. Who I am, where do I work, what do you love to do? Here's my SWOT analysis in the strategic planning process. You'll often hear of the SWOT, the strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats. Well, of course, even for your professional strategic plan, absolutely. This is, and you've got 14 attributes there. Well, you've already started to build your strategic plan. This is who you are. This is what you're all about. We will let it grow over this hour. We'll let it grow over time. And my encouragement to you is start a strategic plan. Start this who I am, your current state, what you're doing, who you are, what you are, where your strengths, what your weaknesses, what your mission is, where you stand today. And then you're going to turn the page and you're going to write the future state or the end goal, the vision, whatever you call it. And what I then need you to do is start writing down where you want to be. What does the 5-year plan look like, or 3 years, or 1 year? You've got to pick a time frame, and that's important for every strategic plan, that there's a time frame that is clearly defined. But pick a time frame, and then talk to me about the vision. I want to be the next CFO of this organization. I want to be a CFO of any organization. I want to be the CEO, the CIO, the CTO, the COO. I want to be a vice president level in an organization doing X. I want to run my own business. I want to open my own consulting shop. I want to become a senior partner in a general consulting firm or in an actuarial firm or HR firm. Talk to me. Tell me what you want to be in your professional strategic plan. You see, as you can paint that picture, as clearly as you can paint that picture, then we are able then to say that how are you going to do it? And the how you're going to do it requires you in your future state to actually define what you will need to do that job. What education? What will it look like? What do you need in order to perform the future state? Then we can put the two together and create the plan in the middle. If you need to have your MBA, and over here it says you don't have your MBA, great, we've got to get the MBA. Let's start talking about the steps it's going to take to get your MBA. If you need to complete your CPA designations, got to do it. If it's other education, if it's small education, project management training, if it's I need to be better at managing people, then we can talk about education. We can talk about mentoring and coaching. We can talk about just maybe it's connections in your life, finding people to talk to you about what it's like in those positions. And so your professional strategic plan is that guide that takes you from A to B and starts listing. And I'm mentioning this, and I'll stop now, get myself in a rant here, but I'm mentioning this because it's crucial that if you want to talk to me about your future, then I'm going to ask you, where's the plan? And if you say I have no plan, it's kind of up my head. I'm going to say, well, let's talk once you have a plan. And let's get something on paper that we can drill down on. And this is absolutely crucial. Think about the development of a strategic plan for your future as a professional. So having said that, all of this can certainly feed into a professional strategic plan. It's something that we can feed to from all these areas. And I'm going to talk to all five. And hopefully we can get a little interactive here and chat among ourselves. But you know, over this time, hoping that you can pick up areas where your strategy, your strategic plan could be enhanced, and your future could be enhanced by being able to look at any of these areas. Okay. Every once in a while, my little Prezi, and I use Prezi here, as I said, does mess up. So tell me what you think thinking like a leader is all about. What does a leader think about? What do you think a leader thinks about? Type into the box Q&A. I know there aren't questions, but talk to me. What do you think a leader? What's going on in their brain every time they wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, and start brushing their teeth? Any ideas? Go ahead and type, and let's see what we say. This is the interactive part, the part where you've got to put the sandwich down and start typing in the keyboard. What is a key? What is a role model they think about? So a leader, you're saying that the leader gets up in the morning and starts thinking about being a role model for the organization. That's probably right. But what are their key elements of their days that they're concerned about? What are their hot buttons that day? What's bugging them? What's good news? What's bad news? When we think about thinking like a leader. Anyone? Other than being a role model, absolutely. Do you think that they're thinking about the bottom line? Anybody? So definitely, it's a different mindset. Leaders are going to wake up in the morning and start to understand the business. In order to think like a leader, you need to understand the business. You see, leaders are thinking about profit and loss, bottom line, share price, goals of the organization, the big picture. And in order to do all of that, number one thing you need to do is you need to understand the business, okay? I think one of the problems that many of us have as we aspire to good leadership or to senior leadership role is that we have been in one area of the organization for so long that it's hard to get out of it. And we've got these silos. Now, if we grow through the IT shop or the marketing area, sales and marketing group, and we get to the senior role there, but that's great, but we know nothing about the rest of the business. What other parts of the business is there from where you are? Type away. What other departments or divisions do you have in your organizations? And I'm going to ask you then, do you know about them? Do you know how they work? Do you know what makes them tick? Do you know what their needs are or their business is all about? Well, we've got IT, we've got marketing, we've got the sales group, we've got manufacturing, we've got the customer support group, we've got finance. Many of you are from the finance side. Any other areas of an organization that you know of? Customer care, thank you very much, Isabel, appreciate it. Someone's typing, Alberta's typing. Customer care, and you're going to find customer care probably more in the sales group, maybe, that's awesome. Have any of you heard of data analytics? Procurement, absolutely, Colin, thank you, got the procurement area. So understand that these are all areas that you may not be involved in. If you don't know IT, and you're sitting in the marketing role, sales and marketing role, if you want to aspire to be a senior leader in this organization, you have to understand what the marketing group, or excuse me, the IT shop does and how it works. Go find someone and learn about the business. Systems engineering, Colin, thank you very much. I mentioned data analytics. I have read recently that data analytics is probably one of the fastest growing new sectors in the corporate market today. Analyzing data, understanding data, and using data, especially the new data that we have available to us today, to make better corporate decisions, to better promote business. I don't know if you guys shop or ladies shop at Shoppers Drug Mart, but I'm now getting emails from them when the stuff that I typically buy is on sale, and that's because I use their loyalty card. They've got their data. They're going to develop and grow the business through data analytics, and that's exactly what that's doing. It's a huge area. Understanding the business is crucial to a future leader. So think about that. You need to also, I'm still under thinking like a leader, you need to understand CXO language. CXO is what? Anyone? What's CXOs? What's that X? You gotta type and do something. Come on. Carrie, Venya, Krishna, CXO. CXO. We got a CEO. Thank you, Marianne. Appreciate it. CFOs and CEOs. Any C-level position? CIO. Thank you. Any other CXOs that you can think of? Come on, it's a quiz. Okay, what's a CSO? CO is operating officer, chief operating officer, of course, chief information officer. What is what is that S? Security. Chief security officer is a good one. Chief technology officer. The language that these people speak, typically they're all reporting into the CEO. Most likely they are a small group of women and men that are running our organizations. Their language. What is their language? What is the stuff that they're thinking about on a daily basis? Mentioned the bottom line, profitability. Oh, CAO. What is an AO? Chief Administration Officer, probably. Chief People Officer. I heard that one the other day in a presentation I did. Audit. Thank you. Yes, Krishna. They think about stock price. They think about bottom line. They think about profit and loss. They think about stakeholders, shareholders. So you need to understand their language. Often I'm talking to project management groups that everything starts and stops with that big project they're working on. But truthfully, the bigger picture is much more important to a C-suite level person as well as chief staff officer like that. Okay, I'm going to stop you now. I'm going to stop you. Understanding or thinking like a leader, you need to understand strategic planning. And I could go on forever. In fact, I do this in a one-day workshop called From a Good Leader, From a Good Manager to a Great Leader. And we spend a good chunk of time actually creating a strategic plan, using a model that we've created to plan out strategy. And this is really important. It's important that every great leader, every senior manager understands how to plan, how to create a strategic plan. It's important they know how to run a strat plan meeting, how to get people involved in that discussion and that creation, how to structure it, and of course I'll tell you that there's so many different ways to create a strategic plan. That your organization, you need to look at what the needs are and what kind of strat plan that you're going to be looking for. So really important that it's customizable, but important you understand how to create a strategic plan. And if you don't, there are organizations or courses out there, that I work, or you've heard, I work for the Schulich Executive Education Center, and we run strategic planning courses 2 and 3 days long, or even longer, 5 days as part of a larger program. But there's lots of training out there for strategic planning process. When I sold my conference business, when we were bought by an organization in the United States, first thing they asked me, where's my strategic plan? What? I had no idea. Absolutely no idea. So I was not creating any kind of strategic plan. You don't when you're a small business, when you're running it on your own. But corporations need it. And you know what? A lot of people think that the strategic plan is the domain of the senior level, of the highest level of the organization. But I'm here as part of an organization. I was a Canadian division running conferences in the project management sector for a very large U.S. organization running a whole bunch of other portfolios. And they were looking to my strategic plan to feed into their strategic plan. my strat plan to feed into the event part of the business strat plan, which would fit into the overall strat plan. So it isn't just the domain of senior level people. So thinking like a leader, an important step to becoming a leader. You need to think like a leader, you need to understand the business, the CXO language, and certainly understand how to think strategically and plan strategically. Second, you need to communicate like a leader. Now I'm going to talk about a couple of areas, but I want to highlight what I call the science of communicating. And this is to say that too often we just quickly run into a speech or run into a presentation or run into, or jog into an email, write a letter, and we don't think logically. We don't think out what we're doing. The science of communicating involves three areas, and I highlight the three. The first is that prep, the second is delivery, and the third is the receipt of the message. It's simple stuff, but you've got to stop sometimes and think about, most importantly, your audience. Who is reading this? Who is listening to this? Who will be using this? Who will be watching this? Clarifying why you're doing it, understanding what the delivery method is going to be, and is this the right way? For instance, you've got a report, it's 300 pages long, everyone's asking for it, there are 15 major, very important readers, and you are just going to go and produce it like everyone else does. Well, I got some questions for you. Do all 15 people need all that detail? Do you have a really good executive summary at the beginning that will cut to the quick and help people cut the time? Have you got it in, honestly, the right font? Is it in the right style that could be read, 200 pages be read easily? Not have that, like a Times Roman or the Serif family. I go on and on about my little rant about your audience and knowing how they want to read, how they want to receive it. Do they just want it hard copy or reprinted or electronic? There are so many things to think about your audience and how they're going to receive the message. If you're presenting the visual part of it, it's the presentation part of it, and if you got that locked down, you need to anticipate the reaction before you get going as well. And certainly if you are in a sales position or an influencing position, or if you're in any position where you're trying to get people on side, you need to stop and put yourself in their shoes and say, if I were sitting in their shoes, if I were in the audience listening to me, what would I think? How would I react? What would the pushback look like? Anticipate, anticipate. Deliver well, deliver your message. Think about how you're going to deliver it. Get that passion inside you to make sure people get it and they know that you're on side as well. Related to the larger goals, there's a line there that is important, and that is as you're selling, depending on what you're presenting and what you're communicating, whether it be writing or speaking, confirming every once in a while, are you with me? Do you get it? Have I lost you? Are you good? Are we good to go? And should I go on? Very, very important in so many circumstances. And finally, the part that we all don't deal with, of course, because we move on fast, and that is the aftermath. Confirming everyone gets it, understanding that there is feedback, getting that feedback, making sure they've received the message, keeping an open mind to the reaction that people have, communicating either written, verbal, listening, whatever it is. You need to stop and understand this is a science. It's not just I'm winging it, and it's not just an art. It is a science. So some key elements to good presenting, or key elements to communicating like a leader. Number one, unfortunately you have to be a great presenter. You do. And if you're not, go learn how. Go to Toastmasters or take a course. Do everything you can. Grab every opportunity you can to present to a group of people. And you really don't want to because you're just so uncomfortable with it, but the answer is you've got to. You need to know how to present an annual report, the financials, a vision. You need to know how to present a strategic plan. You need to know how to address the employees and let them know the bad news or the good news. You need to be able to tell people what's going on. You need to be able to stand up in front of a podium. If you've seen me on stage, I can wing it and I can talk for an hour without looking at one note. That's fine. But you don't need to do that. I'm not talking about being a great professional speaker. I'm not talking about being a a great public presenter. I'm just talking about someone who could get up to a podium and you've got it in front of you, read it. But before you do, there I was yesterday on a podium that had no light. It looked like there was a light, but it didn't work. Make sure you can beforehand read what you're going to, see what you're going to read, that it's in the right font. If you're going to put something on a podium, folks, put it into 14-point font. Do not go up and try to print something that reads something that someone printed for you in the office, because they're just going to print it as is. Get it into a larger font. Look it over. Know it. So that you can, every few lines, look up at the audience. As you're speaking like I'm speaking in this tone now, you can finish the sentence with a quick look up. Come back down to your fingers and read again. The art of being a good presenter. And there's much more detail to it. I love it when you pop your presentations. Popping means you've got my excitement right at the beginning, or at least you've just got my attention. I love it when you tell me at the beginning what you're going to tell me at the end. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate you giving me the answer at the beginning. You give me the pitch. You give me the ask right up front. So I know that this is what this next hour is all about. Loads of things there, but folks, in 1 hour that I'm given, all I can say is get your presentation skills honed up. Write well. Know how to construct good sentences. If you're not grammatically correct, if you don't know your grammar very well, learn. Take a course. Poor writing skills, poor grammar, poor style, just explodes in the paper, explodes on a screen, and you can't be one of those people. So great leaders know how to write well. And don't say, well, you've got assistants that will write your speech. I'm talking about speech writers. I'm not talking about, catch this, I'm just talking about writing a letter. And that gets me to my little bone of contention here, a little rant. You know what, folks? It's time you start writing letters. Leaders, good, well-respected leaders, write letters. Handwritten, folded in two, stuffed into an envelope, addressed to a person's home, or dropped on their desk, stamped and mailed, or dropped on their desk physically. Why would you write letters professionally, folks? Get back to that chat box or the Q&A box. What on earth would possess me to write a letter to anyone in my professional life? I can understand writing a letter to a friend. Maybe it's a condolence letter to a death of a family member. But why do you think writing a letter, handwriting a letter, is important in the business environment? Anyone want to take a stab at this? It's absolutely a personal touch. They'll keep it, absolutely. But what are you saying? What would a leader, what would possess a leader to write someone a letter? Anyone? What could you do? Handwriting a simple letter like this, dropping it off the desk of an employee. For what purpose? He or she took the time to write it, absolutely, but why would you as a leader? Why would you, to get closer, to improve engagement? Sure, but what are you saying in the letter? What's the purpose? So I'm saying I'm going to recommend that you start writing letters, and I'm going to, the question I'm trying to get is to motivate, to recognize. There it is. Wait a second. To recognize is about thank you. Recognition for what? So tell me why you're going to write Bob a letter tomorrow. Because Bob did what? To motivate. Yes, this kind of thing can be motivational. To say thank you, absolutely. That's what I'm trying to get at. Maybe I went around the wrong way. To recognize someone's efforts. Dear Karen, I want to drop you a quick note to say thanks for the great job last week. Your effort and dedication to this organization is sincerely appreciated. Sincerely, David. By the way, Karen's my wife. Awesome. Why not? An employee goes above and beyond the call of duty. You write them a letter and say, awesome job, thank you. An employee does something that is just incredibly special. You say, thank you on behalf of the organization. Maybe you even put a little gift card in there and say, have a coffee or go to the LCBO on me. There are many reasons why we should start writing letters professionally, and I am here to say leaders, good leaders, will take a moment to write a quick little note to people to say thank you. Employees, they'll write letters to peers to say congratulations on a new job. They will write letters to major clients to say thank you for the business. Absolute, no doubt about it. So think about writing letters. It doesn't take much to get a little letterhead like you see here. It's sitting on my desk. It isn't bound by a color there. It's just white or buff and easy. The employee will feel considered, not just will feel considered, not just a number. Absolutely. Thank you. So think about writing well. Understand scalability, folks. Every one of us has a problem with scalability. We go on and on and on. We talk too much. We write too much. We go into far too much detail. We overkill when we're using our communication tools. PowerPoint, Prezi. We overdo it. We have too many lines on a page. We have too many lines on a slide. We have too many slides. We're trying to do too much in a 1 hour that we're presented with or we're given to. Or a 20-minute meeting, we're trying to cover too much. I can go on and on and on about the concept of scalability. You need to understand that you need to scale down your message and make sure that it is, and go back to the science. If you know your audience, if you've thought about it as much as I want you to think about it next time, you'll understand that this needs to be scaled back. And I need you to understand how to run great meetings. Great leaders run great meetings. Great organizations have people that know how to run great meetings. And great meetings do what? Type away for me, please. What are some of what are some of the keys to great meetings, folks? Just give me a few hits and we'll finish it off quickly. But some of the keys to a great meeting. Anyone? Type it away in that box. Every meeting needs an agenda. Absolutely, Krishna. Thank you. Every meeting needs to be on time, and that is both start and end. No going 10 minutes over time. Clear objectives. Oh, man, I sat in a 1 hour meeting the other day, and I just no idea why we were there. And the person running it just had no idea. It was crazy. Get everyone to focus on the same goal. The right audience, top priorities, risks, updates, effectiveness, a cap of next steps at the end of the meeting. Absolutely, Carrie. Thank you. All these are ingredients to great meetings. Stop with the lousy meetings. Stop with the meetings with people that shouldn't be there, don't need to be there, we're wasting their time. Stop with meetings that start late, that go over time. And start with meetings that really have a good objective set at the beginning, that is reviewed at the end. Did we meet the objective? What are the action items? What are the takeaways? See you next meeting. You start every meeting with a review of your action items, and you move forward. Great leaders love, people like working for leaders that run great meetings. Absolutely. It becomes a staple to their product. So communicating like a leader, really important, just as much as thinking and communicating. I want to talk about your leadership style for a moment. What kind of leaders do you have out there? Can you guys type? What kind of leadership styles do we hear and see, or do you work with? You don't have to tell me their names, but they're very democratic. Alberto, thank you. Everyone, we're going to end this together. Let's take a vote. We're all going to be in this together. Good leadership skills, leadership style. Love it. Are there other leadership styles out there? And of course there are. Let's try and come up with a couple more. And what I'm getting at is that there isn't just one leadership style. There are many. You might have that autocratic or get things done autocratic type of leader who just needs to have everything their way and it's got to be done. You might have some laissez-faire leaders that just, yeah, who cares, manana, or you might have ones that are very participative, that love to get people participating. Maybe they're democratic as well. So my point here, folks, is that there are many types of leadership styles. And yeah, I think we got that. Authoritarian, particular, delegating, free reign. There are others. You need to understand what your leadership style is all about. And there are evaluation tools out there that you can use, not Myers-Briggs, not insights. I'm not talking about personality. I'm talking about leadership styles. And the reason I'm talking about this is that it's important for you, not only why do you need to understand yours? Because every time you go into a scenario, whether a new organization or if you're in the project business, the project management, a new project you're working on, a new initiative that's assigned to you, you look at the team, you look at the people, you look at the environment, you look at the parameters. You have to understand whether your style is going to fit the requirements of this job. Don't get yourself in a problem where your type of leadership style is not going to fit into the type of work you're being asked to do. Or, I say to you, can you change? Can you go from autocratic to delegating, participative to free reign or authoritarian? Can you move about? And the answer to many is yes. To me is, okay, but I got to tell you, it's really, really difficult. I believe personally that your DNA has your leadership style pasted right on it. So if you want to be a strong leader, and you're going to have to move between different scenarios, different environments, different types of work, then yes, you're going to have to change it. You're going to have to really work at it. And you're going to have to make a very serious effort every day to wake up and say, I'm not going to be like my DNA says, I'm going to be something different because this team, this work requires me to be different. So you may need to switcheroo. I don't think it's possible mid-range to switch because everyone's been watching you, everyone's seeing you. They've experienced David Barrett as the autocratic leader, and to go from, okay, we're going to lighten it all up, it's really difficult. But as much as well as I'm going to say you need to know your leadership style, you need to make sure that your people know your leadership style as well. So you need to find a way to communicate, especially if you're walking into a job first round. You need to find a way to communicate what type of person you are. Why let them figure it out? Why not just say, folks, let me tell you. I mean, I've heard great leaders do a little SWOT analysis about, or at least the first part, their strengths and weaknesses as a leader, and say, you know, this is what I'm about. So think about leadership styles. Every leader needs to understand your leadership style, but as well, you need to be able to communicate that leadership style and be able to adjust the leadership style. Now, someone said the other day when I was doing this in Syracuse, I don't think it's changing style, but it's just adapting to different environments and adapting to different requirements. Absolutely. Well said. Unfortunately, I got to tell you, you have to learn how to sell. You want to become a leader, you need to know how to sell. And I'm going to call this being a corporate ambassador. I did a presentation for Mercer Canada way back when they brought me in to speak to some didn't know that was on. They brought me in to speak to a group of their employees, and they wanted to call it Selling 101. But the truth was, it's not Sales 101, and they weren't salespeople. They were future partners in the organization. But this company is really smart. They said, yeah, they're not salespeople, but we want them to understand sales. And what I realized is that we won't call you salespeople. How about we call you ambassadors? When you go to a holiday party, when you go to a reception, when you go to the pool on Saturday morning with your kid and sit beside other people and you get a conversation, they say, where do you work? What do you do for a living? And you say, I'm an accountant. They say, who do you work with? Your organization is expecting you to be a bit of an ambassador about your organization, about your firm, about the industry you're in. Rather than just say, it doesn't matter, to say, well, my organization does this, and well, tell me a little bit more about your company. Your mission, maybe, or what kind of people you work with, what kind of work you do. We expect you to know the business. We expect you to know the mission of our organization. And we expect you to be able to talk the talk in any environment, scaled, up and down, not expecting you to go and be aggressive and say, hi, I work for, and this is Saturday morning at the pool, and you want to know who I work for? No, 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 no. But if it comes up, and to be able to talk. And here comes the selling piece. To be able to say, as well, not just hearing you talk, but asking them what they do and why the interest, and isn't that interesting? Well, person turns around and says, yeah, I just got a new business, and we are looking for an audit firm, and we're on the hunt. Well, gee, can I have someone give you a call? Would it be all right? I don't want to overstep my boundary here, but would it be all right if, would you be interested in a phone call from our office this coming week? Well, why not? Here's my business card. That's it. That's all we're asking for. We're not asking you to go through a selling process, a heavy-duty sales course. We're just saying, understand how to pick people's brains a bit and respond to the questions and get it going, so if there's an opportunity, you can identify it for future business. And that's what a corporate ambassador does, folks. Okay? Also, we should know there will be some resistance, especially for employees for many years in the company. resistance to what, Albert? Are you saying resistance to this corporate ambassador, or I just saw that? I'm sorry. 1246. I don't know, 4 minutes ago. Maybe that was the leadership piece, was it? Okay. Well, I'll go on. But if you want to clarify the question or the statement, I'm happy to flesh that out a bit. And finally, people, I want to talk about the big picture because of all things, leaders know how to see the big picture. They need to they understand how to get out of the weeds and see the mountains and see from far afield. They need to know they are able to anticipate. That's why on that survey we did, there was something about that intuition. They've got intuition. They can anticipate needs, changes, opportunities. They have the ability to look beyond just manufacturing and just the sales and marketing group and just the customer service group and pull it all together and see a much bigger piece of the puzzle. And not only the big picture corporate-wise, but the big picture within the corporation and how the corporate fits into the whole marketplace and how the market fits into and how that segment of the business fits into the overall market community as well. So this ability for thinkers, for leaders, to think strategically and to see the big picture is absolutely crucial. And that's why this slide is here. It's really important. And that's why the strategic planning, yes, that's the art of creating the strategic plan, but thinking strategically is absolutely as important. So think about that as you head down the path of leadership. Correct, related to leadership style course. Okay, thank you, Albert, for clarifying that. So leaders think, they've got intuition, they can see the big picture. We need you to understand much more than just the area you came from, and that's why I said understand earlier the whole business as well. So folks, this has been our journey. I wanted to touch on a number of areas where I think it's important for us to look at if we want to become leaders and progress. That thinking like a leader, communicating, leadership style, learning how to sell, and the big picture. I take you back to the beginning, and no, President keeps messing up on me here. And that professional strategic plan. Don't forget that all of these pieces can fit back into that strategic plan that we talked about, and don't let it sit back. If you start thinking of some of these areas and think, yeah, I could use some help on that, and put it right into your strategic plan. Okay, now. I'm going to admit, I've messed up just slightly because I've got back to a wrong side. So close your eyes. I'm going to flip, go right through this whole thing to the end. And I do apologize for that, so bear with me. And we ended up here. This is where I thought we were going to go. One last area, and just a little hint note. Think about acting like a leader before you are one. So sometimes we can do things that will help us in the organization before we even get there. Harvard Business Review said recently, if you want to become a leader, don't wait for the fancy title or the corner office. You can begin to act, think, and communicate like a leader long before that promotion. Even if you are still several levels down and someone else is calling all the shots, there are numerous ways to demonstrate your potential and carve your path to the role you want. Well done. Oh, someone has to leave. Are you able to send these slides group? Oh, thank you. Tell you, I've got a little typo, 2104 there. I'll fix that immediately afterwards. Sorry about that. I was hoping to do it now. We'll do it now. What can you do? Act like a leader before you are. Well, number one, knock your responsibilities out of the park. I don't care what you're doing. Just do the very best you can. Help your boss succeed. Make someone around you a star, absolutely. Seize leadership opportunities no matter how small. Call this finding the white space. Look for ways you can become a leader, or you can just lead something, take on an initiative. So they'll say, hey, that was you, that was David that did it. Don't be a jerk. Find role models. If you know someone out there that is like you want to be, find them, introduce yourself. Don't smother them, but find them. Maybe they're in the public domain. You'll never know them personally. You don't have to know them personally, but read about them. Study their blogs, tweet with them, or read their tweets, subscribe to their blogs. There's lots you can do. And very importantly, folks, this is the day you start building relationships. Yes, all this might be future down the road, but this is where you've got to start building relationships. Okay? meet the people, not just the people in your life now, but the people that should be in your life now that you'd like to help influence your journey going forward. So at the beginning, we had a little list of a whole bunch of attributes. I hope you'll take some of what you've learned today, plus these attributes as well, and you'll think about that strategic plan and how to get from a good management position to great leader. Okay? So think about those pieces. Don't let that go away. My name is David Barrett. You can LinkedIn me, type in project management for Dave Barrett, you'll find me. Twitter, I'm at David Barrett1. I am davidbarrett.ca. By the way, you'll see my website. If you go to davidbarrett.ca and you'd like to follow me or subscribe to my website, first name and email address on the right-hand side only, and you will be able to subscribe. I publish a blog on 2 p.m. every Wednesday. And I also video pod, or video cast, or video blog, I should say. It's called my 1-minute series. Every Friday I try to produce a 1-minute video. And then I actually podcast once a month as well. So feel free to join my website. So there you go. That's me. And we had an hour, and I think we've done it in an hour. I'm hoping that this was something that was worthwhile for you. I mentioned a book that I've got, The Power of the Plan, 10 Easy Steps to Managing Everyday Projects. I've also got a professional project management book called The Keys to Our Success. Both of these books can be found on my website at davidbarrett.ca. As a professional speaker as well, I'm available to come in-house to corporations, organizations, associations, and talk about this kind of thing, or the to talk about other areas. I've got a presentation on communication skills, on project management, project planning. So, lovely to be with you. I'm checking the Q&A box to see if you have any questions. I'm happy to field a couple of questions in the last 3 minutes. And if you have any, and definitely to tell you, I will edit that 2014.
All right, excellent. I'm sure everyone would agree. I know I was sitting here with a lot of aha moments and some great takeaways. I was just sort of following the question box. I could see Krishna actually asking about these slides. This should be okay, right, David? If we could get some of these slides out to the participants.
Yeah. Sure. I get the slides to you shortly.
Okay, wonderful. Certainly for everyone else on the call, David's here. You have him. You have his attention. We'd love to answer any sort of leadership questions for some of you. I know some of my discussions with a few of you, there's a lot around the topic of leadership that you're interested in, and maybe you're in one position looking to get to another. Maybe you want to create more value for the organization you're with. But I think definitely David's ready to answer any questions you may have for those on the call. And even after the call, if something comes up that you want to answer, feel free to email me personally. I'm sure email David, and he would be happy to answer any sort of questions for you. So I'll give it maybe 1 more minute, David. See if any.
Well, I'm not going anywhere. I'm good to go. And if anybody wants to ask any questions or pick my brain, I'm happy to
for sure
to do so. It's all a journey. I encourage people to think about some of the nuggets. The kind of presentation you want to pick up 2 to 3 nuggets, and never the whole thing, but enough to think about something going forward.
No, I think more than anything, I think being a salesman and an ambassador, I think a lot of times people just think of sales as someone as a marketing department or an actual sales department. But especially in this economy, if you're passionate about your company, if you work for a company, and you really got to be the ambassador for that organization, regardless of where you are or who you speak with. So that's something I haven't seen on a leadership presentation before, David. So it's interesting you brought that up.
Good. Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. So Saba, I think we answered that. We'll get a copy of the presentation and the recording to everyone on the call. But for those who may have questions, personally email me, artie@halcyonfinance.ca, or contact David personally from the information. I can share that with him. I'm sure he'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have, or any sort of further suggestions you may need, or being able to kind of work with you as you progress through your career and take up your next opportunity as you progress through your leadership. So for everyone on the call, David, I truly appreciate your time. I know it's definitely a valuable event and presentation. So thanks very much.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Artie, for putting it together, and thank you all for joining us. It was great to be here.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Have a great rest of the day.
Bye-bye.
Any other questions?